Most men are comfortable being average. And the scary part is they have absolutely no idea that it's happening to them. I know because I nearly did the same thing. I was 18 and I had my manager sit me down and walk me through my entire future. Team leader, manager, deputy store manager, safe, certain, completely mapped out. And the worst part, it was appealing. I nearly took it. In this video, I want to show you what the comfort trap really looks like and why the world around you is specifically designed to keep you inside of it, and the 3 shifts that have pulled me out of it and what I've watched pull other men out of it too. Because a wake-up call without a way out is just uncomfortable. I want to give you both. If something feels quietly off about where you are right now, stay with me. Average does not announce itself. It accumulates one small choice at a time. That morning phone grab, checking social media, starting to swipe, start reading the news. And this is not free. The dopamine is not free. It's draining your energy little by little from the very start of the day. Then we start having industrially made bread full of toxins, sugary cereals, energy drinks, instant bullshit coffee. And these are not neutral choices. They make everything harder and are just on the verge of making us crash in the middle of the day. Most men are not inspired by what they do, so they cope by numbing themselves. It could be reels between tasks, scrolling on the commute, counting down into lunchtime. And this is not coping, this is simply postponing. And then they get home. They've now got the big screen on, they've got the little screen, and they're eating whatever they can find that's just easy to get that hit. And this is not laziness, it's genuine depletion. And then what do? They scroll into other people's lives all evening, whether it's their favorite influencer, footballers, sports stars, celebrities, and genuinely caring more about the perceived inside of other people's lives than really what's going on for themselves. And as this overconsumption of the blue light, of the scrolling happens way into the night before going to sleep, and the cycle just starts again tomorrow. And the craziest thing is, nobody questions this. And this isn't just happening in the UK, but since being 21, I've been able to live in over 10 different countries. But specifically when I do go back to my roots, to where I'm from, and I just feel the emptiness and the normality of this rhythm, and it's striking. And I wonder, why is nobody pushing back on this? And when I was younger, I used to think to myself, I can't be dealing with any of this whatsoever. Why are these people like this? Why don't they want to do something with their lives? Why aren't people actually striving to move forward and progress? And now I see it differently. I don't see this kind of man as a bad person. I just see a man who's living inside a system that's designed to keep him exactly this way. And the normality of this in the UK and around the world is honestly striking. Before going to Gran Canaria in the winter, I was looking at a billboard in Manchester. I was there walking around and it kind of stopped me still. And on this billboard, there was 2 big advertisements. And on one side, it said, "It's sofa season." It was a BBC advert, and it just showed like a guy sitting down, clearly just watching something on the channel, got home from work, junk food around. And on the other side, it had a McDonald's advert, and it was showing the new seasonal burger and, the limited time offer that you can only get this, intoxicating, full of crap, chemical ridden burger. It's the Christmassy season burger, whatever it was called, I can't remember. I was standing there thinking, what kind of message is this putting out there to the world? There are thousands of men driving past this every single day, if not more than that. I was thinking, what kind of message is that sending out? It's just normalizing this lazy behavior of just sitting down. It's the season of just being a slob and doing nothing. But more than that, it's saying, sit down, chill out, eat some junk. You can even get the McDonald's delivered now, like this new opportunity. You can get McDonald's delivered now to your door, so you don't even have to move. And what kind of message is that sending to men? It's just saying, you can literally get home from work. The most important thing is sitting down on the couch, sofa season, chilling out, eating a bunch of crap, and watching other people live their lives through a screen. Right? And whilst you're doing that, why not have all of the ease and simplicity of ordering a chemical fueled limited edition burger from McDonald's? And it made me think, if you don't have enough character built and awareness to push back against this constant bombardment of nonsense advertisement, then most guys are just going to go along with it. And most guys have no idea they're fighting this every single day. And I believe that a lot of them, unfortunately, are just simply succumbing to it. When I left sixth form, I was actually working for Homebase, which is was a home and garden centre in the UK. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty good at it. And I started off on the shop floor, then went through up to the showroom. And I was, between 16 and 18 years old, working there whilst I was in sixth form. And I also started working there more full time after I had finished sixth form during the summer. And during that time, I got used to the hours, the lunch break, the kind of culture of work that was there. I was getting very comfortable. I was in the showroom, I was super skinny at the time, and I used to have this big, oversized orange shirt and a clip-on green tie. And then one day the manager pulled me to one side and he was like, "Ryan, you finished sixth form now, I'd love to have a conversation with you." So he took me in to a room. I got to go into the manager's room, and I sat down on one of the comfy chairs instead of one of the usual canteen chairs I would sit on. And he showed me this progression. He was like, "Yeah, I would love for you to now start taking this career seriously. You can start off here right now, and then as the years go by, you'll become a team leader. You can then become a deputy manager, then you can become a manager, then you could become a store runner, then a regional store operator." And I'm gonna be real, that option felt safe. That option felt like it was a path that would be pretty much guaranteed if I took it, and a path that I could have done. And it was a path where I knew what would come next, and a path where any discomfort would have been completely gone. My mum's always been amazing, and I think she kind of saw more for me than what I could see in myself at the time. And she arranged for me to meet a guy she knew who used to be an outdoor instructor in an outdoor centre in Wales. And he came over to the house and he sat me down and he was speaking, and he said, "Look, Ryan, you can do this like normal route. I respect that. You've been offered this place in Homebase." But he said, you're really young and you can really develop by applying to be a trainee in an outdoor centre. And he said, the money's not great, but the experience that you get from this, the life experience, is phenomenal. And I was looking and I realized it was 7 times less than I would be getting just starting out in Homebase. I was a complete trainee. I would have been a complete trainee. And for me at the time, money was important. I wanted to go on trips, I wanted to go out, I wanted to enjoy. But the fact that it was 7 times less, I would have started on £200 a month as a trainee. And yes, I would have got to live on site and eat on site too, but £200 a month, I was thinking, how can I even survive? And would that experience actually be worth it? So anyway, I applied and I got an interview, and what was really cool, the interview wasn't just sitting down at a desk and answering logical questions and kind of like appeasing to the way the company works. It was actually us going gorge walking. There was a group of us. Gorge walking is basically walking up a gorge, walking up a river, and managing to do that, helping each other along the way. And the reason they do that was to see how you operate in front of groups, to see if you are an individual person or are you a group person. Do you have potential leadership skills, or are you just like for yourself? So I've never experienced anything like that before. It was my first time ever gorge walking. I think everyone was older than me that was actually applying for the job as well. And they wanted to see how you handled pressure in a real environment, not just how you answer questions in a room. And to my surprise, I actually got offered the job and I took it. So I said no to the money and the comfort and the kind of guaranteed career progression. And I took the risk to become a trainee outdoor instructor. And I would say one of the coolest things for me, and something I reflect on often in conversations I have, is the fact I got to live with people who were very worldly, very well traveled. We all lived in a house, people like moving in and out of this house all the time, depending on if they were working in the outdoor center. So something that had a profound effect on me was living in this house with a bunch of outdoor instructors, many of those who were older than me at the time, between like say 20 and 35, some of them. And getting to experience and live with people who were so worldly, so people who had traveled, lived, experienced in so many different parts of the world and was just capable human beings. As an 18-year-old, I was just picking up on all of this energy. People who had already made unconventional choices and were living differently because of those choices they made. What changed was not the job itself. I got to do some incredible things with, going on canoeing trips, kayaking trips, doing a bunch of Duke of Edinburgh stuff, working with people from all around the world of all ages and learning and developing these leadership skills whilst I was a trainee. But I still had to do things like mop the swimming pools, mop halls, clean up, and it was like there was still graft that was involved. It wasn't all like rainbows and butterflies being an instructor, and everyone always chipped in to do the hard work. There was, hard work that was involved in it. So what changed was the environment and the people I was surrounded by. And a good environment lifts you without you even realizing that you're being lifted. And the right room does more than willpower ever will. And none of it would have happened without that choice. And I believe that decision, choosing the environment over comfort and certainty, led me into making the decisions around going and living in Ayia Napa in Cyprus, being able to go on my Erasmus to Norway whilst I was in university, and everything else I've built since. The comfortable path was always there. I always saw it clearly. It was always just there as an option, but a fucking boring option if I'm going to be honest. I saw that comfortable, warm, easy, knowing path, and I chose not to follow it. I chose the alternative route, and I walked the other way. So based on everything I've lived since that moment, here's what I know actually breaks a man out of average. Not theory, what I have seen works. So whenever you're feeling anxious, nervous, afraid, it's usually not a sign to stop doing something or not do the thing you can feel you need to do. It's usually a sign to walk into it, step into it, because there's something for you on the other side that your soul, yourself, actually really needs to grow and develop. Otherwise you just stay stagnant, and that feeling will continue to arise time and time again in different scenarios, in different ways, in different places, because your truest self wants you to grow and go through what it is that's making you feel that way. The mistake most men make is treating that feeling as a reason to stop instead of actually stepping into that feeling, and it's actually a reason to go. So when I was 21, I was hitchhiking through Norway with one of my friends. We were hitchhiking because we didn't have the finance or the means to get trains and use public transport. So hitchhiking was the only method we could use to see a lot of the places in the country. And I'd never hitchhiked before. And I felt nervous, tense, anxious, and like, I'm gonna have to speak to strangers. People are gonna think we're weird. I'm standing there with a cardboard cutout with a name of a place that I can't even name because I have no idea how to speak Norwegian. I was thinking, are people going to actually pick us up? Do people even care? And lo and behold, we put the sign out. After some time, people started coming, they started picking us up. So all these reasons not to do it started coming up. I started telling myself, maybe I'll just stay in the accommodation. Maybe I won't go on the trip. I don't need to go and see everything in Norway, actually. I'm creating these bullshit excuses to myself. But me and my friend, we just looked at each other and went for it. We powered through, put the sign out, and eventually someone stopped. And the people, places, spaces, conversations that I got to have during that time were phenomenal. And if I didn't push myself past those feelings, I would have never have got what was on the other side. And in that moment, I realized strangers actually have everything you could desire in your life. And that is where the habit of speaking to strangers really started for me. And speaking to strangers has opened up more doors than I could have ever possibly imagined over the years. Time fuels fear. Act before your mind takes you out of it. The longer you sit with something scary, the bigger the fear gets. Literally, time fuels fear. I remember when I was age 16 or 17 working in home base, and I was on the shop floor and I had to approach customers, and it was terrifying me. I was thinking, what are these people going to think of me? Do they want to speak to me? Don't they? Am I being annoying? And everything's running through my head. But I had to hit a quota. I had to go and speak to as many people as possible to try and get appointments so they could potentially buy a kitchen or a bathroom. But over time, I just learned through doing. I thought to myself, why don't I just approach people in the way I'd want to be approached myself? So I was like, would I be annoyed at that? No, so I started to approach people and be curious about people and ask questions without having any expectation of anything in return or thinking that they're going to progress and make a big purchase. So I wasn't being pushy, I was being genuinely interested. And of course, some people ignored me, some people had a conversation with me, some people then went on to go and make a big purchase. They either purchased a kitchen or a bathroom and would spend tens of thousands renovating their kitchen or bathroom. And I got a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of commission from that. But when I was 16, 17, 18, that made my paycheck bump up a lot. And then I realized this learning to communicate and ask questions can actually give me a lot more in life than just an hourly wage. I didn't quite understand it fully at the time, but I started to learn the world of commission, and my commission was based on my ability to communicate and connect with people, not just being in one place for an hour. So the rule I try and live by now, and it's not easy all the time because you have to give things air to breathe. You have to give some situations some breathing space, but as soon as there's something fearful that comes up for you, something that you know you have to do it as quick as you can and don't give that fear time to grow. If you don't want to be average, stop spending your time with average. It's quite simple. You know, if you want to progress in your life, go and spend some time in different environments. Go and connect with people with different levels of success, people who are way further ahead than you are right now. People in different environments, different industries, different levels of success. Go and connect and communicate with these people, find out where they are. And when you're having conversations with people, be genuinely interested. Like, I genuinely have an interest in what other people are doing, how they've managed to get to where they are in life, what their life story is, how have they ended up in a super successful role or running a successful business or on the path to running a successful business. So ask these people questions, see if you could provide value to them, see what connections or people that they're looking for to help progress or to help them in their business right now. You never know, you might know someone and you can make a connection there. And then that is how you can start building your network. It's interesting because most men assume that successful men don't have time for them. They're super, super busy and they're super closed off to any kind of conversations. And what I found is the opposite to be true. If you have initiative and you actually want to grow and you want to change your life and you want to put yourself on a different life trajectory, successful guys want to invest their time, effort, and energy into guys who they see that are younger than them. They might see a bit of their former selves in you. And oftentimes people who have built something want to connect with people who genuinely want to make a change in their life and have initiative to do so. And this is an ongoing process. You know, I still do this today. If I'm in the gym or the sauna and I meet a guy or a group of guys who are a bit younger than me and they want to go out there, they want to make a change in the world, they want to start their own company or run their own thing, I will genuinely sit down and have a conversation with them if I feel that they're the type of guys who are taking initiative and want to make a real change. And I love having these types of conversations because I was that young guy once. And I do the same thing now. Sometimes I have to pay to be in bigger rooms. If I have to pay to go to a mastermind or to be a part of a members club, I can take wisdom and experience from guys who are way further down the line than me, you know, and I'm hungry to take the next step myself and progress myself. The fastest route out of average is having a conversation with someone who's already living differently. Go and find that person. Average is not something that happens to men. It is something that they choose gradually through 1,000 different decisions, each of them feeling completely reasonable on their own. There's a version of you that already knows this is not it. He's been waiting for you to stop being comfortable long enough to do something about it. The scariest thing is waking up inside a life that feels fine and realizing too late that fine is not the life that you were built for. Subscribe if this connected and send it to someone who needs to hear it.